Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining our session. Today, we're going to be talking about quick turnaround agile research and using Recollective to support that. For anyone on the call that isn't familiar with us, Recollective is an online community-based software platform. We help researchers run anything from on-demand projects like the agile turnaround projects that we're going to talk about today, all the way through to continuously open, very large insight communities. The company was launched in '98, so we've been around for quite some time. The platform in 2011, so about a decade ago. And since then, it's pretty much been our focus is to just develop the technology and really focus on ways in which we can help researchers push the boundaries of what they can do for online qual research. The platform itself is compatible with pretty much any device. We do a lot of mobile projects as well as desktop projects. And the really nice thing about Recollective is you can do the full range of research on it. It's a complete solution. So everything from asynchronous activities, diary-based work, all the way through to the live pieces, so live video focus groups, IDIs, live text chat rooms, everything can be done inside of Recollective. We have over 1,200 customers around the world using the platform, and it's available in more than 25 different languages. A little bit about me. I've been with the company since 2006. I helped launch Recollective in 2011. And my roles really span pretty much everything from sales all the way through to services. Most of the time these days I'm locked in my office, but I'm really delighted to have escaped this afternoon and to be able to talk to you about agile research and what Recollective can do to help support you with that. When I was planning what to say today, I obviously did some internet research, but I did talk to our engineering team because we use agile methodologies when we're building out and designing new features and functionality for the platform. And really what came out of some of those conversations was that it's a blend of people and technology brought together at the right time and then rapidly iterated so that we can get to some kind of desired end result. And I think that, the key point there is the speed at which you can deliver some of those pieces, because it really does depend on that kind of rapid deployment, rapid analysis, and then rapid repetition. And when we think about the research cycle, it actually overlays really, really neatly. So you've got the kind of setup of the project and the build. You've got, apologies for any background noise, you've got the setup of the project and the build. You've got the execution, the moderation of the research, and then all the way through to the analysis and potentially the repetition of the research. So that's really what I want to talk about today, is those 4 steps to running a successful agile community on Recollective, and what we can do to help with the build, the test, the measurement, and the analysis of the results, and then how to iterate using some of the capabilities Recollective gives you. Okay, let's get started with build. I'm sure many of you have experienced projects where the build, the setup piece, actually takes longer than the fielding, the running of the project itself. And so Recollective's really trying to focus on that to streamline it so that it's not difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time to actually get a project up and running. You'll see here we're on the dashboard for a site. So within a Recollective site, you can run multiple studies at the same time, multiple phases of projects. You can iterate a lot just with either different studies or by changing the studies that you've got. Adding new studies is straightforward. Just click to add a new study, give it a new name. You can change the language and so on and target it if you need to, but otherwise you're up and running. And if you've got a project that maybe you want to use as the baseline and the kind of template for the next phase, you can do that again. Very simple. Just copy that study and paste it in. You can change the participants. You can change the activities and tweak them as you need to, but it really accelerates that time to field. Within each study itself, Recollective gives you both the way to have some kind of communication on a homepage. You can really focus what it is you want your participants to see and do and set that expectation so there's no confusion. They hit the ground running, as it were. There's a series of activities, discussion boards, and then we aggregate all of that data that you're getting into some reviews. And we'll take a look at all of that in a second. But really, once you've got that study set up, one of the first things you're going to want to do is add your participants. And you can add them very simply in Recollective. either from spreadsheets, and it'll take you through a process of being able to identify if data in that spreadsheet is profile fields, segments, or just user account information. And then it'll create those accounts and allow you to very quickly send the invitations through the system. There's a bunch of, you can create template invitations and so on as well. So that's all, again, shouldn't take too much time. If you are using Recollective as a panel area as well, so you can actually have thousands of people in a panel in the back of Recollective, you can then use Recollective's ability to select panelists with segment and profile information to pick the right ones to put into a study. Or you can invite people to register themselves through a link, through an email invitation. So there's numerous ways to very quickly and easily get people into a Recollective study. Once you're doing that, you can also screen those participants on the way in. So you've got tools in Recollective for setting up screening questions. You can create segmentation and then quotas against those segments as well if you want to, so that you know exactly who is going to be joining a study and that it fits the profile of what the research demands. So again, shouldn't take very long to get people into Recollective. Setting up the study itself is pretty straightforward. The next thing you're going to want to do is create your activities and the things that the questions you want people to work through. Recollective allows you to have multiple activities running, and the really nice thing is you can sequence those activities either by dates and have one running each day to keep the pace kind of going, or even better is you can actually sequence them just by dragging and dropping them into whichever order you want them to complete. And then the participant would work through it at whatever pace and speed they can to get everything done for you. So you really can compress the time in field if you start to mess around and play around with those sequences. Every activity is, again, not too difficult to set up. So if we create a quick test one, what's nice about Recollective is it's going to allow you to set up both the asynchronous study activities, so those standard and journal activities where you've got a series of questions that people will work through, but it's also going to allow you to set up live the kind of real-time video activities as well. So you can do those as groups, you can do those as one-on-one IDIs. You can invite your client into a back room. You've got the ability to bring translators in, and the software will automatically transcribe the data, so the video itself, into text. It will give you the ability to very quickly create video excerpts and clips as well and export that out. So we'll get to some of that in the analyze section. So you can create activities on the fly whenever you want, and you can sequence them just by dragging and dropping them into the right order. Similar kind of deal with the discussions. If you're using those to supplement some of those activities, it's very straightforward to add topics, and you can star which topics really need to be kind of front and center of people's minds. So all of that should make it very straightforward to get into field, to set your study up. If you do need support, Recollective also offers that by way of a quick start package. So you can use our team to program it. And that can obviously shave a little bit of time off as well if it's required. Okay. The next phase would be the test of the run phase. What I want to show here is some of the ways in which Recollective can support you with different types of questions. So the qual and quant task types, being able to target activities to different segments, take some of the burden away from the research team in terms of programming complexity with randomization and automated randomization, how to uncover a little bit more of the understanding of why through comments and probing and making sure that you're not missing things. And those automated reminders, again, taking some of that just the kind of day-to-day labor of reminding people off the researcher and onto the system. Let's take a look now at some of the capabilities Recollective gives you to run the project, to do the test phase of that agile project. We're back on the activities page here. It's where a lot of those insights are going to be captured. First of all, taking a look at that test activity that we first begun to set up. Recollective gives you capabilities to really target your activities to the right participants. So we can target by segment. If you've got the segment set up through the onboarding process for your participants, you can then use those segments to target which questions you want people to answer, so that their experience is very seamless. They're not having to kind of pick, or you're not having to manually pick which people answer which questions. You just grab a whole segment. You can choose how social you want those responses to be. Certain activities you might want to be kept very private, others you can make public or an influence, so that there is an element of socialization to them. And Recollective also allows you to randomize some of the questions that you're asking people. So if you essentially don't want any kind of bias built into the sequence in which we're asking the questions, maybe you're doing concept tests and so on, and you need to randomize that, you no longer have to worry about how to program that manually yourself. Recollective takes all of that away, and you just click a button, choose the option, and it's going to take care of it for you. The platform will also send out a lot of those notifications. Again, there's no need to craft emails. The system will understand when there's a message to send out to people to tell them something new. It'll also remind them, and it'll know if that individual hasn't finished the activity. They'll get reminders both before it's due and after it's due as well, just to make sure that you maximize the number of responses that you're getting. In terms of their experience, you can also ask different types of questions. So there's a combination in Recollective of both qual and quant type tasks. We've got text, photos, videos, screen recording with audio capture. All of those are going to allow you to kind of very quickly get some of that media from your participants. There's also the option to put some quant type questions in, so single and multiple choice poll questions, very flexible. There's prompts, so if you did want to push the participant into a detailed survey, maybe outside of Recollective, you can do that seamlessly through a prompt, push them to the survey, and then bring them back into Recollective. There are image and video markup if you're getting feedback on creatives. There's a whole bunch more of kind of grids, card sorting and ranking. Fill the blanks combines both qual and quant into one type of question. So you can capture text and photos alongside scales and allocations in a very flexible way. So you would pick all of these different types of tasks as you need them and combine them into your activities. And then the participant would see that activity and be able to answer it in whichever sequence you'd kind of dragged and dropped these activities into. If I take you through one, you'll very quickly see how easy it is for the participants to respond. So in this one, we're starting with a prompt. This is really just setting the scene, giving some context. You can use this also to set any prerequisites you have before the participant goes ahead and answers the next questions. If we go into it, Recollective is fully mobile and a fully responsive platform. So that means participants can use pretty much any device that they want, whether that's a phone or a tablet or a desktop, using any operating system because it runs through the browser. They can add photos from the libraries on those devices as well as the desktops. There's even a library of, in this case, photos built into Recollective for them to pick from. So very straightforward to do that. This one's a grid, so you would get the usual kind of quant data, but you can also then capture the commentary, the more qual type data as they go through as well. So it's all in one place, makes the analysis just that little bit easier. Skip. This one's an image markup. We're using it as a perceptual map. Again, super easy to kind of drop that quant piece of data, but then also capture the qual piece of data right on the same place. There we go. Skip the rest of that. Card sorting, really visual. They can do this just drag and drop. They can do it on their devices as well, dragging and dropping, or just clicking cards to move things around and so on. And again, you're capturing additional commentary as they go through on all of these pieces. So once you've really got some of this kind of data captured as the participants work their way through, you're then able to kind of actually manage the data in a very easy way. So if I take a look at maybe this one, we can take a look at some of the data in there. You'll see who has and hasn't completed it very quickly. The software would have been sending those messages to remind people, but you can actually filter and look at the incompletes, move them from the study, replace them with people, send them messages. Again, all through the software with just a few clicks to really speed up that moderation effort.
You can also look at some of the responses and begin to do analysis on the fly so that you don't have to wait to the end. So you'll see everybody that has responded to questions is in a big stream. And as you want to kind of read it through, you can mark off that you've viewed it and you've seen it so that it doesn't get missed. You can also grab pieces of these responses and save them as excerpts and then tag them on the fly and then produce reports based on some of those tags and excerpts that you're creating as well. Again, that just speeds up that analysis piece that we'll get to next. You can begin to add your comments here. So if you do have comments, you can do those publicly, privately for the individual, and they'll get messages to reply to you. You can write backroom comments very easily for just the research and client team to see as well. You can even a way to reply to keep nagging the person if it's necessary to get those responses. So lots of tools to try and simplify and streamline that kind of test and run phase of your project in Recollective.
Then on to the analyze phase. Anybody that's run this type of online call will understand that you get an awful lot of data from these projects. And so Recollective's put a lot of thought, and we're very proud of some of the ways in which we give you to handle that amount of data. Everything from automated charts through to data visualization that matches the type of information, all the way through. Data filtering is present in Recollective, so you can start to pass that down from very large quantities to just looking at what you're very interested in based on segment, based on person, based on the activity or the questions even. And once you've found the data that's interesting, you're able to excerpt and code it and then pull that out in real time so that there's no delays in being able to pass that feedback and potentially iterate.
So hopefully you've seen it's very simple and Recollective to build your studies out in an agile way, very rapid to change them and turn them around, and also to run those projects. Now let's take a look at some of the tools Recollective has for being able to analyze the data. So we're back on the activities page. We're actually going to go over to the summary for this piece. The summary really aggregates all of your information from those activities and those discussions into one convenient location. You'll see the data represented as streams, as word clouds, photo walls. There's videos in there. Again, all nice and easy for you to be able to grab, and then all of those automated charts that we'll get into. In terms of the stream, and all of these pieces, you could begin to filter them. So obviously, if you've got a really big study with a lot of people, you can begin to kind of pass through that data using these filters. So we can look at just maybe the activities that we want to see. Maybe we can look at just a specific type of activity that was in there. If we want to look at a particular segment or group of people, we have those filters and segments up at the top. That will allow us to do that very quickly. And Recollective is just filtering and changing the data on the fly for you to use, as well as being able to kind of read all of these things, mark off that you've responded to them and seen them. You can begin to excerpt them. Again, right on the fly in the page, just grab the piece that you want to excerpt. You save the excerpt, you can tag it, you can manage your codes on the fly, add as many codes as you need to. So all of these tools are giving you, the researcher, ways to be able to manage and analyze your data very quickly. Let's just move that off. The word clouds are also going to give you the ability to pass through a huge amount of data and see some of the patterns in it. So for example, in this case, we're looking at this particular activity. I'm seeing the word cloud, and I can drill into it now. So if I was interested in product as a keyword, I'm seeing now all of the responses to this activity that use that particular word. I can even drill further. Maybe it's product purchase that I'm particularly interested in, finding data about that. So it's narrowed it down further, and I can look at and see just what the women are saying about product and purchase, and it's filtering it even further again. Every one of these images and charts that you see, you can export. Every data table you can export out as well. And if you want the full, in this case, word cloud data, you could begin to do that. You can even exclude specific words if they're maybe not a right fit for what you need, if it's a product word or something you want to take out. Photos and videos are all the same. Videos are really neat because you can begin to excerpt those as well on the fly. If we look at this one from Laura, you'll see, as well as having the video, we've got the full transcript on the side. This is all automated. And we can jump to any part of...
So I'm going to go to sale is under new.
Quieten that down. You can jump to any part just by clicking on the word. You can double click a word to edit it if it's not automatically transcribed in the correct way. The other nice thing is you can go into the full transcript and you can begin to create little video clips based on this transcript here. So if I wanted just this section here, I could save that as an excerpt. It's grabbed and created for me the video clip. I can tag it. I can play and download just that particular part of the video into the
all of those sorting features are right at the tops.
There we go. So again, super quick, super convenient. There's no fiddling around with kind of those kind of time markers and things to be able to get the perfect video clip out of a Recollective study. Some of the other charts that we give you, you'll be able to drill into as well. So we have, obviously, for those image markups and those video markups, we have heat maps. You can drill into any one of those heat maps to see the details, see where all of the cards are. Everything is responsive. So as you begin to do the analysis, it's going to change the charts on the fly for you. So maybe we're interested in just, again, what the female segment had said. Now we're looking at data just for women within the study. Maybe we want to look at a particular part of this image, so we can pick to look at maybe just the top of the tent. So we can see what people thought of that area, and it's rebuilding on the fly. So most women like the top of the tent. And we can even see that all of the commentary and export those pieces out very quickly if we want to. But maybe this image is, it's all green here. It's not really well defined. You can even begin to make that pop a little bit more, change the heat map sizes, change the marker sizes, all that good stuff until you've got the perfect image that you're then exporting out to put into your final presentation. It just, again, speeds up and streamlines that whole process. You don't need to fiddle around with anything or have somebody doing it after the fact. It can all be done within Recollective. So as well as having all of those charts, you have ways to be able to pull out your data into reports and transcripts. We're going to help you understand what's happening across the study. So the participation reports, for example, will tell you who's active and who isn't active and what they're doing on the fly. You can very quickly look at a summary to see how active your sites are and if you need to chase people up. And all of those transcripts are available as well at any time, both in qual and quant formats for you to be able to download and then use that at whatever kind of format that you want. So Recollective will give you not only the tools to build, to manage and run it, but also to analyze in depth, to really drill into, to filter your data, and then to pull out just the pieces that you need to really support the final reports that you're giving to your clients.
Okay, on to the last, but certainly not the least step, the iteration phase. And we don't believe this is just about repeating steps 1 through 3. We've given a lot of thought into Recollective, how we support this type of work. We're very proud from day 1 when we released Recollective, we offered very flexible licensing. So you can buy a Recollective project for just 3 days, 10 people. There's no need to lock into annual licenses. And that fits with agile research really well, so that you can turn these things around very quickly with a very low investment. But that still includes all of the things you need, from training through to tech support, to be successful with it. Also worth considering is the amount of time it takes to be able to recruit and get people into the study. As I mentioned in the presentation earlier, Recollective has a full suite of panel management capabilities. So you can actually build a panel of thousands or tens of thousands of people in Recollective, and then use the custom segmentation tools, use the custom profile fields to be able to mine through those individuals and find the right people to drop into the study. And you can do that with a few clicks, and it gets you up and running in a super compressed time frame. And certainly some of those build pieces, we put some thought into how to speed that up as well. So not only the ability to clone studies that you might have run and you want to repeat, maybe just changing the people, but also the ability to reuse activities or reuse questions that you've done in other studies and quickly copy them in and paste them into new research projects, so that the time to actually build and run is compressed as possible, and there's really no barrier for you to be able to iterate and repeat. So everything from build right at the front all the way to kind of iterate and repeat at the end. We think that Recollective offers you a full suite of tools to be able to deliver agile research, and we don't think there's a better platform to do it on. I am actually joined with Laura Polito, our VP Research Services, and we'd be delighted to answer any questions that you might have.
So much. Stephen. Yeah, we have just a few minutes for questions. Reminder, you can pop your questions in that Q&A channel or in the chat channel, and Stephen and Laura can get to them. One question I'm seeing here from Deidre, she's asking, are responses automatically coded by Recollective?
Do you want to take it, Laura? Do you want me to?
Whatever you prefer, Stephen.
Yeah. They are not automatically coded by Recollective, but you can pre-build your code book, and then different researchers can add to that code book on the fly. And so it's very easy to be able to pull out those excerpts and then code them. It doesn't take very much time. We do find that most researchers we've spoken to prefer to do it themselves. They trust in themselves a little bit more maybe than the AI tools that are starting to kind of gain some prominence now.
Wonderful, thank you. Oh, did you have something to add, Laura?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the other thing that Stephen showed prior was also, if you lead with some of those question types that do have the automated charts, when you go to drill into the why, you can go ahead and filter. And so while it's not actually coding it for you, you can filter it down and just look at those specific areas, which really helps with the turnaround time for analysis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. Hopefully that answers your question, Deidre. And speaking of turnaround time, I saw another question come in the anonymous chat. What is the typical turnaround time for projects using Recollective from setup to analyzing results?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I know when we talk about quick turn projects, a lot of times people are like, well, what does that actually mean? Are we doing things in hours? Are we doing things in days and weeks? And I think the answer really depends a lot on how you're using Recollective and how proficient you are with the technology. So we've actually seen some of our customers turn around projects and high-level themes within less than 48 hours. And I'm talking everything from recruiting their participants in to then having a debrief call and internal meetings where they're talking about those themes that they're seeing. While that's not going to be every single project, I think more commonly when people are thinking of these quick turn projects and using our platform, we see our customers running everything from that recruitment to having that debrief session probably in about 7 days. So for example, we worked with a brand where they wanted to get things turned around really quickly and they wanted to talk to their customers. And so what we did was we helped with recruitment screening right on the platform with their customer base. We did it right in Recollective. We got everything into fields. They actually had their customers go do a mobile mission at stores and participated in a lot of asynchronous activities prior to that mobile mission, and then also reflection activities afterwards. But they were able to do everything, including getting those findings and having charts available through the platform and picking out those themes and doing their debrief session all within 7 days. So I'd say that's probably more typical.
Wow, that's a very impressive timeline. Thank you for that. Yeah, we have just about a minute left, so I'll take another quick question. What type of applications or projects are best suited to taking kind of a quick turn approach on Recollective?
Sure. So really you can run anything from, say, like a customer exploration or a brand study all the way to doing things like concept testing or ideation. But what I would say is one of the features that Stephen mentioned towards the end there is the ability to easily clone full studies. So I'd say if you're a company that does a lot of similar work or for your customers, and there's maybe an activity guide that you could turn into some sort of template, that's going to be one of the key things that you could do a quick turnaround for, because you can actually clone those full studies and then go and modify say you're doing an ad test, you could quickly clone one from prior and then update as you see fit with new materials that you're looking to explore. And so while it could really be any application, if you're really proficient in one area, I'd say those are going to be the things that are most suited to doing more quick turn projects.
That makes sense. Love to hear that. Everybody loves a template.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. We are at time, so I'm going to wrap up here. If there's any other questions that didn't get answered, if you just scroll to the bottom of the session page, there's a big button that says book time with me. That goes right to Stephen's Calendly invite, so you can schedule time and hear more about Recollective. But really appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you, Stephen and Laura, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.